Hey, thank you for joining the First Middle Church of Christ. We're really glad to have you. Hope you're having a wonderful day today. Hey, be sure to go to our social media platforms and like and follow, and also go to our YouTube channel and be sure to subscribe and pass it along to your family and friends. We have some great messages that will help you and encourage you in your walk with the Lord. Our lesson today will be called, Who Are Your Gods of Pleasure? And the text will be coming 1 Kings 18. You see, idolatry is a tree from which sin grows from. And every sin that I struggle with, and every sin that you struggle with, is a false god winning the war. I want to take a look at some gods that you have made in your life that you may be struggling with. What about jealousy? If you're a jealous person, you may have made stuff a god in your life. How about anxious? If you're an anxious person and a worried person, you may have made comfort and security a god in your life. What about lust? If you keep losing to lust, maybe you made sex a god in your life. This seems to be a big struggle with lots of people, is sex. With the internet and everything that we have out there now today at our fingertips, sex has become a primary target and a primary god in a lot of people's lives. How about discontent? If you are discontent, maybe you made money a god in your life. How about proud? If you are proud, maybe you made images a god in your life. But you see, a lot of times our focus is on the sin itself. See, when we start scratching the surface of that sin, we will find a false god sitting on the throne in our hearts. Until the gods are dethroned, we will not experience victory. Okay, now the question is, how do we worship the one true God? Okay, what gods are at war within you? And what gods are you struggling with? If you're like me, the hardest gods to defeat are the gods of pleasure. You see, the sad thing is we bow down to what feels good. And the gifts have become the primary care to those we give to. We have turned the gifts of God into competition. We don't destroy our gods of pleasure. We just kind of store them in a closet. You know, everybody says we have skeletons in the closet. Well, we have gods of pleasure in the closet now. And we hide them because nobody will never know what we have in there. But God knows. Luke 18:17 tells us, for all that is secret will eventually be brought into the open, and everything that is concealed will be brought to light and made known to all. See, Ahab married a woman by the name of Jezebel. And some of us may have heard the story or even read the story of Ahab and Jezebel. Now, Ahab put Jezebel in charge of the religion. Jezebel built a temple to the god Baal. And Baal was the god of rain, the weather. In 1 Kings 17, now Elijah was told King Ahab, as surely as the Lord, the God of Israel lives, the God I serve, there will be no dew or rain during the next few years until I give the word. See, God sees Israel worshiping Baal, so God withholds the rain. And the area in your life that have become more important to you than God, then God will remove his blessings from you in that area, so that has now become more important to you. See, if you put your marriage ahead of God, if you put your work, your finances, your sex life, and so on ahead of God, then these areas are probably why you are so frustrated with, or why you're struggling with in these areas. And if God says, these things are your Baal, and I won't send the rain, God is not going to sit by and let you live in idolatry. God is going to actively do something about it. You see, when we live in sin, God says that he will give you what you desire and let the natural consequences follow. Is there an area that has become too important to you? Who is the Baal in your life? If you put God as the important thing in your life, he will send the rain. See, when we stop worshiping the Baal, God often sends the rain. Maybe you have been praying for something important in your life, but you feel like God isn't hearing your prayers. Have you put God first in your life? Have you trusted God Because remember, God doesn't work on our timetable. God's timetable is way different than ours. Have you put your trust in God and allow Him to work it out in His time? If things have become too important in your life, then don't be surprised if God sends a drought. Are you experiencing a financial drought, a work drought, a marriage drought, a sex drought, a happiness drought? God is waiting to draw attention back to Him. God is wanting us to let go of the limitations and be blessed with the real thing. God wants to send the rain. 1 Kings 18, now summon all Israel to join me at Mount Carmel, along with the 450 prophets of Baal and the 400 prophets of Asher, who are supported by Jezebel. So Ahab summoned all the people of Israel and the prophets of Mount Carmel. Then Elijah stood in front of them and said, how much longer will you waver, hobbling between two opinions? If the Lord is God, follow Him. But if Baal is God, then follow him. But the people were completely silent. Do you see yourself in this? If the Lord is your God, follow Him. If Baal is your God, the gods of pleasure is your God, then follow him. The people were silent because they had to choose. They wanted both, so they said nothing. We can't have both. We can't have God when we want God, and we can't have Baal, the gods of pleasure, when we want them. Many people don't come to church because they have to choose. Who are you choosing to follow today? Is it God, the one true God, or is it the God of pleasures that you are choosing? Your choice is today whom you will serve. For me and my house, we will serve God.